Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually a really, really great thing. A lot of people say, oh my goodness, why is President Trump moving the convention? This is actually a fantastic thing, and I agree with this 100%. It is very good that President Trump has canceled the Jacksonville GOP convention. Very good. It's an excellent decision. And here's why. There's no way President Trump could easily fill any venue. He could easily fill any venue, even in this day and age. The problem is Democrats, media would say, oh my God, President Trump is making people lose their lives, and you know what, he's bringing about the spread of all spreads, or super spreader, super soaker, super spreader, and oh my God. Meanwhile, they had long lines in Wisconsin, Illinois, Arizona, and Florida. The most disingenuous, duplicitous people. And by the way, first and foremost, Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you to my new patrons. Christine, thank you so very much, Christine. Thank you so very much. And to my new Patreons, thank you. Very, very kind of you. You help me do what I do. And my Patreon link is below, ladies and gentlemen. But you help me do what I do, and I appreciate your support. And thank you. Thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's actually a very good thing. A really good thing. And you have to understand, President Trump's going to win. He's not going to lose the election. The same polls that said that Clinton was up by 16, 20, by 11 double digits, they were wrong in 2016. They're going to have the biggest meltdown of all time. And it will be because of the most absurd form of politics on the left within the Democratic Party among good, righteous liberals. They don't want to debate. When they debate, they lose arguments. Then they say, oh, well, you know what? You're just trying to give people a platform who you disagree with. No, it's called arguing. It's called a debate where your ideals or your value system or your argument based on fact and reason and logic goes up against another argument, presumably based on certain facts or certain types of arguments or another type of logic. And you see which, this goes back to Socrates. You can see the truthfulness of a person's value system through debate. If they don't want to debate, if they don't want to engage in a discussion, that means they have nothing. That's why usually you see like the left writing hit pieces, or they just focus their time mocking and denigrating and insulting people and twisting their words because they don't have an actual argument. So President Trump loves speaking. He loves going and speaking to a crowd, trying to convey his ideals or his value system or his argument or his vision of what he wants the country to be. You can disagree with it, you can not disagree with it, or you can oppose it, or you can agree with it, but at least he's front and center. You'll see during the debates, he wants to debate Biden even more than like 3 or 4 times. He wants endless debates with Biden. That's because Biden ain't going to be the nominee. It's going to be Hillary Clinton. But see, their argument is not that, oh, look, he has so much enthusiasm, and what they're going to say is, well, you know what, he put people's lives at risk. It doesn't matter if they were social distancing. It doesn't matter if they were wearing masks. He put people's lives at risk. They'll say that immediately, without any evidence. They'll say that because if they utilize that logic, how many lives were at risk in March when they had their primaries in Illinois, Arizona, Florida, And then in April in Wisconsin, when people were literally getting pelted by hail and they were in rainstorms. No, but they didn't ask Fauci if they could have their primaries. They did that to kick Bernie Sanders to the curb because they basically cheated him again, or at least ensured that he wouldn't win. Maybe he wasn't cheated this election like he was in 2016. But the Democratic Party wants nothing to do with Bernie Sanders. So that's why you had in Iowa an app that was linked to Clinton campaign officials. But the whole thing is a charade. You're going to have Hillary Clinton as nominee. Eventually. Don't know how it's going to happen, but you will have Hillary Clinton as nominee. That's going to take place. But see, the Democrats are going to lose because they don't have any ideas. They don't have any policies they can rally around. They don't have any semblance of a foreign policy. President Trump is bringing home Americans. He's setting the foundation to bring home Americans. He signed a deal to bring home Americans from our longest running counterinsurgency conflict in Afghanistan. They don't care about that on the left. Their arguments are only hyperbole. They're filled with hyperbole, false analogies, the most absurd claims, and logic that if you utilized against them would undermine everything they stand for. So their argument is, well, you know what? Trump, he's putting people's lives at risk in Florida. How dare he do this? This is terrible. And if the media harps on that, he could possibly end up losing Florida. So he canceled the GOP convention in Florida, which is actually a smart thing to do. Now they're going back to North Carolina, to Charlotte. It's actually a smart thing to do. And and now they don't have the opportunity to say that, oh my God, because North Carolina is going to go red, going to go Trump anyway. Florida is a swing state. He needs to win Florida. He can't have endless media coverage saying that Trump put people's lives at risk. So they don't. If President Trump has a Jacksonville rally or a Jacksonville convention, then he's putting people's lives at risk. If Democrats have their primaries with people waiting in endless lines, and I mean, it wasn't only mail-in ballot, okay? It wasn't only mail-in ballot. They made sure it wouldn't only be mail-in ballot, and they made sure it wouldn't be the popular vote. Because if Bernie Sanders won the first 3 contests, he would have almost certainly won the entire primary. So in a way, he was cheated. The whole reason, one of the biggest reasons he didn't win in 2016 and he didn't win in 2020 is because he wasn't seen as viable or realistic. But if you win the first 3 primaries, and then you get the popular vote in the first 3 primaries, the Democratic Party's done. Because then they have to go, and then they actually have to implement Medicare for All, which is what they're only utilizing to get votes. So the first primary in Iowa, they ended up cheating Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie did not craft a message for voters in the South. He didn't do that in 2016 either. But his message should have been, hey, you know what? Medicare for All is feasible. And here, I can prove it to you because the House passed legislation, or I have this bill that I'm pushing in the Senate, or we have AOC pushing this bill in the House, but they didn't do that because they can't. So Democrats have no ideas. They have no policy ideas. Medicare for All is a fantasy. They're not going to. You think Biden himself said he would veto Medicare for All. Then you have climate change. The world is in peril. And you have Noam Chomsky stating that, President Trump wants to end human civilization, and the rhetoric does not ever correlate to the legislation because there is no Green New Deal legislation. Agent Pepsi won! We have 5,000 acres here in Texas. Trump rally, welcome. Awesome. Nice. Agent Pepsi won. Awesome. Agent Pepsi won. Thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand. Gil R! Your twin brother on that other YouTube channel also is growing his hair out. Yes, Gil R, thank you. Actually, you know what, Gil, I have to start that back up. I'm going to start that back up very soon, Gil. I'm getting the creative juices flowing. Oh my goodness, I love when you talk like that. Don't get me started on juices. Oh, Bill. My goodness, Bill Clinton, would you relax? My creative juices are flowing. I just want to tell you my creative juices are flowing. I can't wait till Hillary gets back into the Oval Office. And that means I can, guard the fort when Madam President is, traveling abroad. Speaking of abroad, my creative juices are flowing. Gil R! Thank you, Gil! You know what? I have too many wigs and I have too many disguises not to begin, to continue the Bizarro World Goodman. So I'm going to do that. Gil R, thank you. I just want to tell you, I've never met somebody more thoughtful and caring and honest and virtuous in my entire life than Joe Biden. And it was so unfortunate when that stampede of wild elephants came romping down Pennsylvania Avenue. I mean, who could have predicted that? And then when he swam across that river and a bunch of piranha, well, I wish him the best, and I'm just so glad that we have we have the cavalry coming. Hillary's going to be nominee, everybody. It's just a matter of time. I do impressions. I'll be here all night. Tip your waiters. Thank you. They're going to lose the election. And the interesting thing, the really, really interesting thing about, the Democratic Party is that this election is going to be the end of a political paradigm. This is very, very important. This election is going to be the end of a political paradigm on the left, which is Democrats, media, good, virtuous liberals, really wonderful people. They ostracize, denigrate, insult, demean, try to undermine in the most absurd manner, try to silence, try to intimidate opposing viewpoints. They don't defeat opposing viewpoints with logic or reason. They don't defeat, there was this one publication with this quote-unquote writer who was obsessed with me. And he said that I lost the debate to Richard Spencer and I lost the debate to Jordan Sather. No, I won both of those debates. But you see, he claimed to be against both of those people. But he then said I lost the debate, which I was against, and also defeated both of them, using logic and reason to defeat their absurd or hate-filled or, nonsensical, completely irrational, prejudiced, bizarre viewpoints. So But the left is like, even if they agree with you, they can't. And then I went to that writer and I said, let's debate, buddy. He wouldn't. There's a person, a guy on YouTube who tried to, I don't know, did a whole bunch of segments on me. I said, let's debate. He wouldn't. They're frightened of actual debate. That's why they don't debate Ben Shapiro. That's why they don't debate Dave Rubin. That's why they don't debate, well, Dave Rubin, I think they've tried to debate him, but they don't debate Ben Shapiro. They don't debate anyone they disagree with. They don't debate anyone they disagree with, except one or two people that they focus on. Generally, they don't want to engage in a debate because with me, they know I'll bring up the fact that Bernie Sanders was cheated. I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders anymore. But he was cheated. The Democratic Party cheated him. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. That's not Russia's fault. Then they talk about voting and suppression. Well, there was a Voting Rights Amendment Act that John Conyers and Jim Sensenbrenner, they wrote the bill. Why haven't they voted on it in the House? Why haven't they voted on Green New Deal legislation? A resolution is not legislation. Why haven't they voted on a Medicare for All bill? So they're all talk. They have nothing. That's one of the big reasons Democrats will lose and President Trump will win. There's no way that Trump is down by 15 when he has more enthusiasm, when he's talking about legislation, he's talking about policies, he's talking about, if they think that chaos, mayhem, property damage is going to win them votes, they're wrong. That's not what's going to happen. You can call Trump an authoritarian all you'd like. Now, I am against President Trump bringing federal officers within cities that don't want these federal officers, states that are controlled by Democrats, because I believe that's a trap. But still, you have a situation where you're not going to win. The current Democratic Party is not going to win with late-night talk show hosts and Joe Biden and eventually Hillary Clinton being the nominee. They're not going to win with the same. They have not changed since 2016. They have not changed since 2016. They're the same political party. You think that they've changed a little. You think that they've gone more to the left, but they really haven't, except for symbolic gestures. Oh, we're gonna vote to remove these statues. Okay, well that's not generating wealth for impoverished community. Like, they had 6 years to address police brutality after Eric Garner, who was murdered in New York, but they didn't. They focused on Russia, which is an absurd, which is an absurd, nonsensical, irrational fantasy of Democrats, which is fueled by Clinton, who purchased the Steele dossier. So the DNC and the Clinton campaign purchased the Steele dossier. They would never allow that. If you called anyone on the left and saying, "Hey, did you know this? Did you know this?" They wouldn't address it. So it's like they're going to lose the election. When they lose twice, They can't really say anything after they lose twice. Abel! The left is being used to undermine the rights of the rest of us. A controlled opposition, if you will, a state will continue as is going too far. I think that there's a lot of truth to that, especially when you look at the fact that you look at the protests that become violent. The protesters aren't leaving. When you have federal officers, why are protesters even there at that point? So they say, well, oh my God, Trump is... I disagree with sending federal officers, but at what point do you continue a protest when you know there's violence there? So if the right to peaceably assemble is predicated upon protesting in a peaceful manner, once it breaks down, you no longer have the right to stay there indefinitely. So I don't understand, like, what rights are they trying to fight for if you already see that police in riot gear are there, or federal officers? Why are you still there? So then they get the photo or the video, and then it's replayed. And did you see what Trump is doing? Did you see what this? Yeah, well, the protests had already dissolved. All the peaceful protesters are already gone. So what is the point of staying there when you know that you have an opposition in the government or in state or federal officers who are going to react with overwhelming force? What's the point? The whole point is that you are engaging in your First Amendment rights to change society for the better. When you're told to leave that location and you still stay, and then you throw things at officers, that doesn't further anyone's cause. And then it gives President Trump a whole lot more votes, because then the suburban voters look and they say, okay, you know what? I'm going to pretend that I'm really against Trump, and in the voting booth they say, yeah, I don't want this violence to come to my neighborhood. So they vote for President Trump. When President Trump, it's funny, when Trump tweets out messages, he doesn't usually tweet out subliminals, but the one subliminal, law and order, is not really a subliminal. He's actually just saying, if you want law and order, vote for me. If you don't, vote for Democrats. Then they say, oh my God, he's acting like an authoritarian. Well, not really. You have chaos and mayhem. So, Kaylee Smith, thank you. Do your Slick Willie impression while you're talking about the... Oh my God, Kaylee Smith. You know what? I wish I could. I appreciate. Oh my goodness, I commissioned a Picasso painting, but instead they gave me this. I was trying to get my visage in cube form, the Cubist movement. Kaylee Smith, thank you. Press View Uncensored. AJ, do you still believe Trump made a mistake for sending federal agents to liberal cities? I do. Press View Uncensored, I do. I do think it's a mistake. I don't see how it benefits him still. And now you have the Pennsylvania district, or Pennsylvania Attorney General stating that he wants to arrest federal officers. So you're going to have this showdown. It's not going to be spun. It's going to be spun in a way where if enough people believe that Trump is this authoritarian despot, it'll hurt him. The election could look. It's going to be Hillary Clinton. When Clinton becomes nominee, Kaylee Smith, thank you. Oh my goodness, Kaylee. I wanted my good friends to go ahead and put my likeness on a Cubist painting. Cubism is an early 20th century avant-garde art movement that revolutionized European painting and sculpture and inspired related movements in music, literature, and architecture. Pablo Picasso. I wanted them to do a Pablo Picasso of me, but they wouldn't. Kaylee Smith, thank you. Douglas Smith, $5 I got important. But Douglas, thank you. Very kind of you. I was in big tobacco until Clinton took office. In 93, put the Hillary pick over Holyfield so I can stare at it. Okay. Put the Hillary pick over Holyfield. All right. I think I'll have to move the Hillary pick. Douglas Smith, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. And just you watching, I just appreciate that. Thank you, Douglas Smith. But they're going to lose again. Kaylee, Douglas, everyone here. We have, and just Charlemagne told the wonderful former vice president just today to quiet the you-know-what up, or shut the you-know-what up. It's slowly happening. Biden is not doing as well among black voters and Latino and Hispanic voters. So they know the polls are public relations. Charlemagne the God said Biden should shut the you-know-what up forever after calling Trump the first racist president. They can't even insult Trump correctly. They're so apoplectic. They can't even insult Trump correctly. So Douglas Smith, thank you so very much. Kaylee Smith, Douglas Smith, thank you. Thank you. Tar Heel Billy, hello. Old School Dadman, hello. James E, hello. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, hello. It's like getting to Hillary Clinton. She's going to be the nominee. When she becomes the nominee, that'll be pretty much Cats and Dolls. Love the name. Cats and Dolls. What's the behavior going to be after they lose again? Kaylee Smith, thank you, everyone. Thank you. That's a great question. I can spend an hour on that. They're going to be apoplectic, seething, fuming, hysterical, fanatical. You will have portions of the left break off, and some of them, a great many, will never come back to the Democratic Party again. This is their legitimacy, their credibility is predicated upon defeating Trump. That's why people who knew better went along with the Mueller probe. That's why people who knew better went along with absurd analogies. Old School Dad Man! H.A. Goodman, thank you. Thank you, Old School Dad Man, thank you. So, Joshua, hello. So, that's a great question. Cats and Dolls, that's a great question. It is going to be the most amusing and hilarious and euphoric moment. That's going to be the biggest moment on the internet, in the history of the internet. I'll have H.A. Goodman, this channel, H.A. Goodman's other channel. By the way, I have a segment up right after this. You'll love it. And we're almost at 16,000 subs, so subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel, everyone. They have not done enough to vilify Trump, which is kind of hilarious when you think about it. When you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of funny to say they haven't done enough. It's actually really funny to say. Here's H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check it out. We're on our way to 16,000 subs. Tell your friends about H.A. Goodman's other channel. But they haven't done enough to vilify Trump, which is kind of funny. Todd Rubel! I think it'll be a fun place. Thousands of many statues around the country. Fun place. Todd Rubel! They would like the purchase of tractors or bulldozers throughout the country would skyrocket. Todd Rubel, thank you. Quinn Smith. I'm the third Smith. Quinn! 3 times a charm. Quinn Smith, hello. Quinn Smith, Todd Rubel, Kaylee Smith. Old school dad man, Douglas Smith. November 3rd is fast approaching. They have not done enough. They have not done enough to denigrate and mock. It's actually, Trump is impervious to that. You know the only thing that Trump is not impervious to? I'm going to give the secret to defeating Trump, which nobody will listen to on the left and the Democratic Party, the wonderful righteous far left and the beautiful morally superior liberals and the progressives and all the wonderful people who don't like Trump and who despise him. Here's the secret to defeating Trump in an election, which, by the way, is impossible for Democrats, which is why I'm telling you. The secret is to focus on specific legislation and communicate to the general public and convince the general public why this legislation is important and why Trump stands in the way. Now, if Democrats tried to implement or pass legislation like Medicare for All legislation, which apparently is not feasible, Democrats have no intention of implementing single payer because very likely it's just not feasible. But let's say I'm wrong. I could be wrong on that. That's irrelevant. If they focused on that, they could then say, okay, look, President Trump does not want Medicare for all. We want Medicare for all. And so that is an example of a very tangible difference. Simply saying that, well, Biden is a better person because of what he said on the Charlemagne interview, which it wasn't that big of a deal, but Trump is a really bad person because of all the bad things he said. And he said both sides. He never meant that, just like he wasn't talking about the far left, he wasn't talking about the extreme right, and he wasn't talking about the tiki torch monsters at that horrible tragedy that took place. And Democrats, it was like Democrats have engaged in like this 8th grade bullying. Trump said this, he said this, and anybody who likes Trump nobody cares. Nobody cares about the condemnation. Quinn Smith, thank you. Luke St. Martin, you're right. Eric H526, thank you. They tried their version of politics is throw as much mud as Trump, see what sticks. But the thing is, there's more mud you can throw at them. They're the ones who cheated Bernie Sanders. They're the ones who don't really stand for any transformative policies. You can't run on, we're going to be less draconian when it comes to immigration than Trump. You can't run on, we're going to be more militant than President Trump. You can't run on that. Mark Morth, like your message. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You can't run on that, ladies and gentlemen. Mark, thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. You can't run on, oh, well, we're going to be marginally better than Trump. And we're not as offensive as he is. But we're still offensive. And he's worse. You know, what happened with Tara Reid was bad, and I believe Tara Reid, but you know what? Trump is worse. You can't run on that. You can't run on, well, there was no quid pro quo with the Ukrainian oil and gas company. You know, but there was quid pro quo with withholding military assistance. You can't run on that. You can't run on, well, you know, Trump worked with Russia, but we purchased the Steele dossier. You can't run on that. You can't run on, you're not going to win a presidential election, even with the media as an extension of the Democratic Party by saying that Trump worked with Russia. Nobody cares. It never happened to begin with, but nobody cares, especially when the Steele dossier was literally purchased by Trump's direct political rivals and utilized by his political rivals within the intelligence community. They completely pretend. They pretend in the most disingenuous manner. Oh, well, there was nothing that went wrong. I mean, it was completely above board. Mark, thank you again. They don't have a policy message. They don't have a specific. You can't simply also run on, we're going to make sure that billionaires pay taxes. Okay, how is that going to help the average American? How is that going? So when AOC says, Amazon can't come into New York. Well, why? Well, because they don't pay taxes. Yeah, but they're going to generate economic growth. More jobs will be generated even if they were to bring 25,000 employees from other parts of the country, because you would have people throughout, whether it's restaurants, food trucks, dry cleaners, union jobs. You would have people within her district and surrounding districts in Queens and throughout New York who would make money from an Amazon headquarters. That's why, according to one estimate, that Democrats, they commissioned studies, the wonderful studies that Democrats worship, that said there would be up to 100,000 jobs just from the 25 to 40,000, because it wasn't only going to be 25,000. The headquarters was big enough to have 40,000 Amazon employees within the buildings, the headquarters. But AOC led the fight against more jobs. There was nothing in aggregate that was going to be detrimental to the people of her district. Would there be? Rents could go up. Yes, that's true. But people would then but overall, people in surrounding districts or throughout New York or within her district who could use the opportunities for new jobs, or perhaps open up a restaurant near that location, or dry cleaners, or whatever, retail chains. You're talking about a tremendous amount of economic activity. They don't understand. They don't even care what that is. Christopher, go buy yourself some Goya. Love you, brother. Goya is the best. Christopher, thank you. Christopher, thank you. Thank you, Christopher, as always, for watching. Be here November 3rd, everyone. Be here November 3rd. Mark, be here November 3rd. Angela Goodwin. Lenin wrote a pamphlet in 1920, Left-Wing Communism, an Infantile Disorder. It shall be read by all. He did? I'm going to have to look that up. Angela Goodwin. Angela Goodwin, thank you. That's right. Angela Goodwin is one of the most learned people on this channel. One of the most knowledgeable and learned and intelligent people. Thank you so very much, Angela. Thank you so very much. Left-wing communism and infantile disorder. Left communism, wow. There's always somebody, like at the gym, whether it's like, if it's MMA or at the gym, or you could be like a black belt in any discipline or any martial arts, and there's always somebody better than you. Just like on the left, there's always somebody far further to the left. Angela, thank you. Thank you as always, Angela. Thank you as always, Angela. Greatly appreciated. That's why when I was on the left, it was never good enough. Never, ever good enough. And they never understood. It's funny. And this is, Angela, I've noticed this. And this is also one. In 2016, people to the left of me were reticent about criticizing Clinton. they have this. It's funny. People think that I focus too much on the Clintons. I don't. I actually love Hillary Clinton. I think she's fantastic. I want Madam Secretary to run every 4 years because she will be the nominee this year. There's no way Biden's the nominee. I mean, you could start telling everyone that I have made the biggest political prediction of all time. He's not even in the polls that show he's up by 20. He's not doing as well as Clinton did among black and Latino voters. Democrats are nothing without black and African American voters and Hispanic and Latino voters. They're done as a political party. That's why when Biden says, if you have a problem voting for me or Trump, then you ain't black, immediately the Washington Post went into damage control. Immediately the New York Times and everyone else, CNN, oh, come on, it wasn't that big of a deal. Trump is worse. But you can't win that way. If you're morally superior, then you must be morally superior even when Democrats make the most offensive and racist statements. And you must say, that's it. He needs to step down tomorrow. They did it with Al Franken, but they're not going to do it with Joe Biden. So you can't, they're not going to win. And I'm telling you, I will have made the biggest political prediction of all time. It's annoying for me to say. I don't even like saying it. I'm telling you, I don't like saying it. I'm telling you, I do not like saying it. And when the pack of stampeding elephants or the piranha or the hornets or the funnel web spider, no, what's the most poisonous spider? Or the, stay away from that one. Stay away from it. Oh my God. Most poisonous spiders. The brown recluse. Ay. Stay away from that one. The funnel web. That's not a good one. Not a good one. Very, very dangerous. That's in Australia. Wow. That looks like a mean spider. Dang. The recluse. Not a good spider. Oh my God. Oh my God. Let's see. It's nuts. Yeah. Recluse spiders live in regions comprising Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, and parts of Georgia. Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska. Interesting. According to the entomology department of University of California, Riverside, if you do not live in those areas, it's highly unlikely that you have a recluse spider. It's possible, but highly unlikely. Well, there you go. Anyway, my point is, Sarah Pena, hello, thank you. My point is, it'll be very unfortunate. Oh my goodness. It was so unforeseen, that wolf spider, the Chilean recluse spider. I mean, who could have predicted that? I mean, they're only in Chile. And how on earth did Biden's basement get... How on earth was there a outbreak of the Chilean redback spider? A Chilean recluse spider, about 1,000 of them in Biden's basement. I mean, what are the odds? I'm sorry that happened. And I just can't believe that, these things happen, Wally Pop, hear ye. Oh my God, Wally Pop. I haven't even read the whole thing, and it's very good already. I hope I don't have to. Hear ye. Biden leaves 2020. Oh God. And Brown, now he claims to sever. Yes. Wally Pop, thank you. Thank you, Eric H526. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Bo! Here in Australia, we have redback spiders. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah. So that's like, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, I don't know how it's gonna, Chilean recluse spider. Wow. That's actually a distinct looking. Those legs are long. I've never been a fan of spiders. A lot, like I've known people like, oh, they're so beautiful. They protect you. I'm like, I guess. I don't even, not really. Scorpions eat spiders. That's right. Paul 48. Yes. Wally Pop. Wally Pop. The best. Wally Pop is the best. So, I just think it's so unfortunate that Martians have to come down from Mars and stop and prevent Biden from running. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how. I don't know how it's going to happen. But J. Ryan DOD HA, obviously they're going to perpetuate the medical until election, which will adversely affect the economy. How much of an effect do you think it will have? I think J. Ryan DOD, it's going to. I think that the economy, there's already J. Ryan DOD. There's already signs of a rebound. So, thank you very much, J. Ryan DOD. There's already signs of a rebound. Okay, we already have somewhat J. Ryan DOD, somewhat of a V-shaped recovery. So, it's like it is serious, very serious. People need to take everything very seriously. The duplicity in keeping the primaries going in Illinois, Florida, Wisconsin, and Arizona, that's one of the reasons they'll lose. There's just so much duplicity and they don't get it too. J. Ryan, DOD, thank you. Angela Goodwin. How can it be different reasons? Everyone comes from Noah. Angela Goodwin. Angela, thank you. J. Ryan DOD, I think that, and Angela, thank you. I think that the negative economic impact of 30 million people or so throughout the country unemployed, that's not going to, like, Democrats think they're the ones who will benefit from this. But this is different. You had the Bush administration, for example, presiding over credit default swaps and a housing bubble and, credit bubble and, then it tanked and then he started the bailouts and it's like, okay, well, yeah, his economic policies of just allowing banks to do what they wanted to do, people blame Trump. I mean, people blame Bush. So people did blame Bush. And he deserved the blame also for his foreign policy. Bush was the worst president we've ever had. By far, in my view. I don't see anything lasting, anything Like, at least President Obama could say he had the Affordable Care Act, which some people don't like, a lot of people like, but a lot of people don't like, but at least he could say that. There's nothing that the Bush administration did that helped anybody. Nothing. From failed foreign policy to, that was pushed by Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. They actively pursued that foreign policy. There was a stock market crash and a market recession, an economic recession that could have gone into a depression under the Bush administration. You had but those things were the direct result of George W. Bush. Trump, the pandemic is not a direct result of Trump. You look at the New York Times, 5 Democratic-run states account for over half of the lives lost. And they keep on saying that Trump is losing. They did the same thing with Clinton, and they'll do the same things with Clinton again. Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be Biden. I will have called this in please share my articles below. They're slowly ramping up the anti-Biden rhetoric. And I knew it was going to happen. They're ramping it up. They're slowly ramping it up. And you knew it was going to happen right before the convention. At that convention, Hillary Clinton is going to accept that nomination. And that was always going to be the case. I don't care how they spin it. Okay, there's no way they're going to waste the centennial of the 19th Amendment on a person who was accused of really horrific things by Tara Reade. It's interesting, too, how Biden is actually accused of physically having done that, but Trump claimed to, in a roundabout way, do something similar, but not even close to as horrendous. And you have people who just, the duplicity is unbelievable. The duplicity is just unbelievable. Everything from cheating Bernie Sanders to not caring about what Tara Reade did, to not caring about what Biden's ties to a Ukrainian oil and gas company, to not caring about, to ignoring the fact that they purchased a Steele dossier. It's really unbelievable. It is really unbelievable. But at the end of the day, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, share this article everywhere. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Please, please, please go ahead. Please go ahead and share that everywhere. Get that viral. If you know anybody who is into politics, show them that article. Thank you, Eric H526, and thank you, Luke St. Martin. Show them that article. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. It's right there. You can't get a clearer prediction of what took place, and that was in 2017. Thank you, Luke St. Martin, Eric H526. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back at around 11 p.m., 11:15 tonight. So please be here. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. I have a great segment on there right now. So check that out. That's below in the pinned comment. And I want to thank you to my new Patreons. Thank you very, very, very much. Also, ladies and gentlemen, really important, please share my Jerusalem Post op-eds. They're below in the pinned comment. One is about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and one is why Democrats embrace anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bias. Please go ahead and share that. There's a lot of my writing that is below in the Federalist, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Daily Caller, the Jerusalem Post, the Hill. So please go ahead and share that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in about an hour or so. To my super chat, thank you. Reverend Fry, thank you. Everyone here, Agent Pepsi, hello, thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. God bless. Have a great, great weekend. I'll see you in about an hour. Be here on this channel, people. Thank you so very, very much. I'll see you soon. Be here in